according to Rivers elders tell Tinubu. Wike a threat to national security, democracy, Rivers elders tell Tinubu. Now away from Wike's story, the next story still on fuel. Dangote refinery free to sell petrol directly to protesters. Alleged 70 billion naira theft. Matawalle can't escape proof. EFCC assures Zamfara APC protesters. Now there has been much ado about the prof on the minister, state minister for defense, that's Bello Matawalle, where so many heavy on transactions above 10,000 naira on OP, Money Point, others. Now that story on Money Point and OP, the money transfer levy, that's EMTL, from every inflow of 10,000 naira and above received by customers of fintech companies including OP, Money Point and others. In a notice to its customers on Saturday, the online payment platform stated that the charges in line with the Federal Inland Revenue Service FIRS regulations will take effect from September 9, 2024. Now, what the statement said, dear valued customers, please be informed that starting September 9, 2024, a one-time fee of 50 naira will be applied for electronic transfer of 10,000 naira and above paid into your personal or business account in compliance with the Federal Inland Revenue Service regulations, said the notice. Now, the company clarified that the charges are requirements from the President Bola Tinubu, a source of revenue for the payment platform. Now you get to find that story from the Daily Trusts. Now away from that story, we move on to the next story, where Governor Ratta, the Katsina State Governor Ratta, how community leader collected 700,000 naira from bandits, allowed them to kill 30 villagers. Governor Ratta, how community leader collected 700,000 naira from bandits, allowed them to kill 30 villagers. Now that story is so pathetic. Now let's get to read what the story has. Now Governor Dikko Ratta of Katsina State says bandits cannot operate freely without the connivance of some persons in the society. Speaking at a town hall meeting which held in Daura at the weekend, Ratta agents in protecting communities against attacks by bandits, kidnappers and other criminals. The story continues. The program had as its theme Public Engagement 2025 Citizens Budget Participation Process. Governor Ratta said, we have come up with an initiative that for any community ready to defend itself, we will give them necessary support and training to engage criminals before the arrival of the security agents. Now away from that story from Katsina State, we move on to the next story, which is still talking about the exit of the presidential spokesman, where the president says, I wish you well. Tinubu achieved the memo, and he thanked Ingilale for his service to the nation. The statement says, the president has received the memo from Chief Ajuri Ingilale, Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, an official spokesperson of the President, as well as Special Presidential Envoy, on coming of his decision to proceed on an indefinite leave of absence for personal and health reasons. That story you will find in Daily Trusts. Now away from Ingilale's story, we move on to the next story on security. Police mop up illegal arms in Edo ahead of Juba elections. Police mop up illegal arms in Edo ahead of Juba elections. Now the elections coming up in Edo states, it's much talked about. The story from that headline, the police command in Edo says it has commenced a mop-up of illegal arms and ammunition ahead of the September 21 governorship election in the state. SP Moses Yamu, the spokesperson of the command, quoted the state's commissioner of police, Nemi Iwu, as saying this on Saturday. And our first story from Leadership newspaper, we have this headline: 8 years after federal government's takeover, Yobe Cargo Airport yet to begin operations. 8 years after federal government's takeover, Yobe Cargo Airport yet to begin operations. That story from Leadership in northern Nigeria. According to the state government, the airport would facilitate the export of meat, dairy, which would be a source of foreign exchange for the state. There are different opinions on the airport. Some argue that the huge sums, and people have been, raising so many concerns about, the absence of ministers to represent the states as it has been constitutionally, enshrined. Now that story on ministerial slot, party leaders, activists, and civil society organizations, CSOs, have an naira of public money into her personal bank account. In Plateau State, a chieftain of the All Progressives Congress, Jonathan Ishaku, resigned from the party, citing the state's exclusion from Tinubu's cabinet for his action. And that story, you'll get to find it in Leadership newspaper. Away from ministerial slot to the next story in Leadership newspaper, where we find this headline: presidential aide disowns yacht with Nigerian flag in France. Presidential aide disowns yacht with Nigerian flag in France. And the story on that headline: the presidency has disowned a yacht spotted with the Nigerian flag in Saint-Tropez, a coastal town in France. Reports of a presidential yacht belonging to the Nigerian government being used for vacation at Saint-Tropez have since gone viral on social media. Reacting to the reports through a post on his ex-handle, senior special assistant to President Bola Tinubu on digital and new media, Ortega Ogra, said the yacht belongs to a private individual. Now, he said flags used by the president or armed forces do not contain the coat of arms like the one yacht. Now, we move on to the next story from Leadership newspaper, where we find this headline: Nance urges dialogue over petrol price hike. Nance urges dialogue over petrol price hike. Now that story on petrol price, the